Hello everybody and welcome to Sin City Living. My name is Jason. I'll be bringing you today's episode. Now, most of the updates and things for the channel we're putting at the end of each video so that people can skip right through it, skip right to it and hear about it, or just not watch that portion at all. But a couple things that I do want to bring up real fast, doing a couple of small changes to what we're doing here. Kind of going back to the roots, going back to the basics. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the strategies. And please email us any strategies you would like us to shoot videos on, even if it's ones we've already done in the past, over the past year and a half. I can't go through all of our videos and dredge up all of the strategies so I can remember them all. So please, please, please email them to us. And this is how I'm going to do it. Each one is going to be a series of videos. I'm going to do the initial video where I will present the strategy, go over it, analyze it, talk a little bit about the strategy, some of its strengths, some of its weaknesses. And then I will shoot another video or a series of videos. It's going to be 2 or 3 videos of how it stacks up on the statistical likelihood rolls. 15 rolls without a 7, 30 rolls without a 7, 45, and 60. How it would stack up on basically 10 minute to hour and a half long rolls. And that will be split up into 2, sometimes maybe 3 videos, depending on how long it takes. And then after that, I will shoot another video where we will do that particular strategy under some live rolls. Now, the live roll strategies, the live roll videos, those are going to be going on the patron site for our patrons. But the other 3 to 4 videos will be on our regular YouTube channel. After that, I'm going to stitch all of them together, except for the live roll, but I'll stitch all the rest of them together into one long video for our daily premiere, where everyone is able to chat with each other and amongst themselves. Hasn't quite gone the way I was hoping it would go, but one unexpected bonus to it is that I have noticed that there's been a lot of chat going on between the fans. So I'd like to continue that, keep that going. So we'll continue doing these premiere videos so that everybody can chat with each other. And I go through the chats and get ideas for videos and stuff like that, because while I'm doing the strategy series, I'm still going to have the other videos in between, plus crossfires and stuff like that when I can get Louie. Thank you, by the way, to West and I believe it was East Coast Craps for the support on today's premiere. We really, really appreciate that. It's going to be very helpful for us to continue growing the channel. And thank you also to everybody for the coffees. Very appreciated. Very, very appreciated. I am living on coffee right now. With all of that being said, sorry for how long it took, we're going to go ahead and jump into today's video. So for today's video, this one's going to come from a suggestion from one of our viewers, and it's a really good suggestion and kind of gets us a little something different than the strategies. Thank you, everybody, by the way, for the coffees. We really appreciate it, and for the super chats on the premiere videos. So this one is going to be ways that the dealers can make the game a great experience for everybody. Now, usually I shoot these in 4 video sets, but I actually can't come up with anything that will be suitable for our patrons. So this one won't have a patron exclusive accompaniment to it, but we're going to have the 3 videos. We're going to have ways that the dealers are able to make the game a great experience for everybody, ways the players are able to, and then ways that the dealers and players can work together in order to do that. There's probably going to be some overlap in the third one between the first 2. So the first thing I want to say with how the dealers can make the game great for everybody is to remember that everybody is different. A lot of people out there think that the way they want the game to run is the only way it should run, or the way they want people to talk to them is the only way people should talk to them. And that is just not true. I spent 20 years in the restaurant and bar industry, and it's all about reading people, because how you talk to every person is different. Some people look for one type of experience, some people look for a different type of experience, and you have to read it. It gets even harder when you're dealing, because with, say, restaurants and bars, I would go up to a table, or when I was the manager or general manager, go talk to a table, and you have a group that are generally, for the most part, like-minded. They're in similar moods, similar mindsets, because they're hanging out, friends or family together. They probably think somewhat similar. So you read the table, and you kind of know how to talk to them, unless you make a bad call, which does happen. But with craps, you may have 16 players at the table that have no idea who the person next to them is. In fact, most likely, they're all a bunch of strangers, all with different personalities, all with different expectations, all with different play styles, all with different desires and things that they want from the table. So you once again get into you cannot please everybody all of the time. And again, you have to now read 16 people and hope you get it right. So oftentimes it's kind of in the middle of the road. If you kind of read everybody, and then you either go in the middle of the road, or you do your best to target how you're dealing and how you're talking. Now, for the best dealers, I'm not going to talk about the worst dealers. We all know about the dealers that are just wooden, expressionless robots, or the super salty ones. And sometimes you have a great dealer that you catch them on a bad day. Maybe they just had the world's biggest jerk on their table, and it just turned them into a complete sourpuss for the next hour or so. It's going to happen. It is going to happen. Every single one of those players out there, I guarantee, has had similar experiences at their work. Guaranteed. One thing that always amazes me that people talk about in the casino industry is that it's, especially during the pandemic and the mask issues, but one of the things they talk about is how incredible it is that people act the way they do, when you know that they would certainly not put up with people acting that way at their work. So, pretty incredible to us. But ways that the dealers can make the game a great experience for everybody. Now, of the best types of dealers, really, there are two. There are two types of dealers, and then the good ones, the really good ones, can kind of blend the two together. But the first one that you have, and the one that most players, that most of the I won't say less experienced, but most of the casual players, there we go, the casual players or the tourist players, the ones that they most prefer is the entertainer. The entertainer, the one that's got the funny stick calls, that's high energy, that's cracking a few jokes, has the really corny, cheesy jokes. I work with one guy who's got some really corny ones. Always, makes people laugh. Those of us that have heard the same joke 5,000 times, it's a little bit tougher. But got the cheesy jokes, got the loud, gregarious personality, the silly stick calls, the silly jokes while they're doing presses and making moves. Maybe they've got a couple of flashy little moves that they do, not to be confused with the flashy look at me dealers. They have the flashy moves because they're just trying to draw attention to themselves, and they're typically pretty inefficient. The entertainer will have a couple of moves that look kind of flashy, but they're actually fairly efficient. And they will still deal a quick game. Now, the entertainers, they typically run it a little bit slower than the mechanic, I guess, would be the best way to put the other type of dealer, because they're putting on a little bit of a show, and they're putting on a little bit of entertainment. They're talking to the people, so there might be an extra 2 seconds before the dice move, because they're making a joke, or they're talking to someone, or they're helping somebody with their bet. Same thing up top. There may be an extra 2 or 3 seconds while they're on base every roll, as they're making their jokes and things along those lines. Now, typically, most of the entertainers are good dealers, even crossing the line into great dealers, but they're not the hyper-efficient mechanics that are the second type of dealer. The second type of dealer that can make the experience great for everybody is the type of dealer that is mostly preferred by non-casual players, by the players that are playing 3 or 4 days a week, or even just 1 or 2 days a week, but for 8 to 10 hours each day. The ones that are serious players, the ones that take the game super serious, and they're more about the game than about having fun. They're more about gambling than having fun. Whereas the casual player is more about having fun, and if they win money, they're having fun, of course, versus gambling. Gambling is the mode of the fun, but the whole point is the fun itself. Whereas then you've got the non-casual player that it's fun if they win. They're not actually out trying to have fun. They're out trying to gamble. It's totally different. And this type of dealer is usually a little bit quieter. They're still going to have their jokes and their go-to stuff. They're definitely going to talk to the players, but they're going to be much more efficient and mechanical. They're all about the efficiency and speed of the game, because that's what those players want. So the mechanic is all about efficiency and speed. Now the truly great players truly great dealers can blend the two together. But some of the things that can cross between both sides is talking to the players. Talk to the players. Even, it doesn't have to be entertainment, but you talk to the players. And you've got a bunch of bets going up. And, you get your roll. So the 8 rolls, and, it's the first time the 8 was rolled. So you don't know exactly how everybody plays. The newer dealers, there's one of two ways they go. They cut out the payment, and then they just pester the player. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Which is pestering the player, definitely not entertaining them. And if you're on the mechanic side of things and you've got a non-casual player, they want the game to be moving. They don't want you to sit there and stall. You're taught to, if they don't say anything by the time you cut out the payout, then you bring it out. Now, if they then say something afterwards, oh, press me 1 unit, or press me up, I'll get back to you. Because you're moving back, you're moving on, you don't break your rhythm, and you keep going to the next person. So, those players that are just pestering, yeah, no, not good. And stopping, also not good. But the good ones, they're talking to the players before they even get to the payout. The 8 rolls, and this dealer could do a number of different things. As they're cutting out the payout, they go, hey, what do you want to do, sir? Or ma'am, or whatever it may be. Or they could say, you want to press 1 unit? You want to press all the way up? And by the time they come down, they go, okay, same bet. And while they're doing that, they say, hey, how about you, sir? You want to press a 1 unit? You want to go up? What do you want to do? As they're cutting out the payout. And then if the player says something, cool, then they move on from there. The other side of it, too, is once you start getting to know the players, once they have played for 3 or 4 rolls or a couple of shooters and stuff like that, you can anticipate. And then the good dealers are going to help the player. Because oftentimes, while we do say it's a fast-moving game, you need to watch the table, you need to pay attention to your game, things do still happen. Again, it's a social environment, and sometimes people are there with friends, with family, or of all things, just a cocktail waitress is walking by and they're trying to order a drink because people want to drink. So they may not be watching that very second. And you can either cut out the payout, hand it off, and then, hey, don't forget to pick up your money, and just move on to the next players and finish up. Or you can kind of help them out. If you know that this player has done the same thing every single time. Let's say this player has pressed at 1 unit every single time. Now they're getting a drink from the cocktail, so they're not actually watching the table. All right, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and press you up 1 unit. If you want to change that, just let me know. And then I move on. This player, you always press up. Full press, so we're going to go ahead and bring you up to 48. And then as we finish up, now the players are engaged, and usually they look a little confused when they're reaching for their money because they're like, oh, what rolled, what? So, and that's the point where a good dealer is like, hey, I put your money right over there, 8 rolled, I pressed you up 1 unit, is that okay? And then with the other player, hey, go ahead and pick up your money right there, it was an 8, we full pressed, is that okay? Sometimes they'll say, oh, no, I want to do this, or I just wanted to go to this. Okay, cool, and we fix it. But talk to your players. Talking to your players, communicate with your players. Also, help out your players. So we've got, let's say we've got a decent little roll going, and let's say this player just did that. So they hit a winner. Next come out roll, a 5 rolls. Now, if you're in the middle of, if you've got a lot going on, the players are figuring out their odds, they're looking to see what they may have over there. A good dealer is saying, hey, you usually bet the 6. Don't forget, you don't have a 6. Bad dealer's just standing there nice and quiet. In their head, they're thinking, I hope we get the dice rolling, and then a 6 rolls. So this player misses out because they weren't paying attention. Well, yeah, the dealers miss stuff too because they're not paying attention. So help them out. Help them out. Now, this does kind of go hand in hand with the second video that's going to be coming up of ways the players can also make the game more enjoyable and a great experience for everybody. And I mean everybody, not just the players around them, but also the dealers. Some players, the dealer's not going to, because it's been made fairly clear by the player that they don't want any help or any questions or anything from the dealers. So, once the dealers get snapped at once or twice, they're just going to stop. But otherwise, you help the players out. You communicate with the players. Hey, easy 10 came. Don't forget your hard 10. You want your hard 10 back? And you've got some dealers that are like, wow, if they're not tipping, they haven't dropped the tip yet. They've been here for 15 minutes. I'm not going to help them. Oh, maybe they're one of those players that tips at the end. There's a lot of players that do that. They tip at the end. They're going to wait and see if they won, and then based on what they won, they're going to go ahead and drop a tip. Or if they lose, once they get down to their last 10, 15, 20 bucks, or even just last 2 or 3, depends, they'll throw it into the dealers before they leave, if the dealers deserve it. There's so many, I would say well over half the players, if they tip after they're done playing. So these dealers that are like, oh, they're first chance to tip, well, they're not going to tip now because you're just being a dick. When normally you would get that tip at the end. Then of course you got the players that will tip during. So communicate with the players, talk to the players, help the players out, and not just the ones that are tipping, because that's the other thing too for dealers that they need to understand. Well, yes, about 70% of your income comes from tips. 30% of it still comes from the casino. It's not a huge percentage. It's a huge percentage. 30% is pretty big, but it's not a huge dollar amount really coming from the casinos. But you're still taking the casino's money to do a job. Do your job. It doesn't matter if the player is tipping you or not. You're still getting paid. Do your job. So I hope you guys find this interesting, illuminating, enlightening, or at least just plain fun. The next video will be talking about how the players can make it a great experience for everybody. Thank you guys for watching. We will catch you next time. Bye now. Thank you everybody for watching today's video, and as promised, a little bit more detail on things that we are working on. So again, we want to continue trying to expand the channel. We're really hoping to be able to add roulette as soon as possible, and then some video keno, video slots, stuff along those lines. Unfortunately, it ate up almost all of our cash, paying off all of our bills during the month of January while we were down. And now that the holidays have ended, YouTube's payouts have dropped significantly. So we're kind of treading water here as far as all that goes. Do have a lot of things we want to add, though. Not just those things, those additional games, and hopefully some carnival games and such like that. But the live streams. The biggest problem right now with the live streams is with 3 jobs combined between the 2 of us, 4 if I include the 20 to 30 hours a week I'm putting into the YouTube channel. It's very, very difficult for me to have a day and time that I can commit to doing the live stream every single week, because we also have our very young child to take care of. But I'm trying to figure that out. I'm thinking it's probably going to end up being on Monday nights or Tuesday afternoons, or possibly both. I intend to do at least one live stream exclusively for our patrons, and then another one on the YouTube channel. So possibly both days. We also have a few other things that we really want to attempt to move forward on. I'm just running into either time or skill set issues. I do want to eventually have a website going for us. I did used to program websites over a decade ago. A lot of things have changed, and I just don't have that time. And not a whole lot of knowledge on the current state of building websites, hosting what sites can host, and how to build up the e-commerce stuff. So if anybody has any skill sets along those lines and would like to answer some questions or just help us out, shoot us an email, sincitylivingLV@gmail.com. Also, I really hope to be able to start adding some exclusive stuff from Sin City Living, logoed shirts, hats. I'm looking to get custom dice made, even custom layouts made, although those would be pretty expensive. But I know zero about e-commerce and drop shipping and anything along those lines. So if you have any skill or knowledge in that area, please email me. I would love to ask you some questions and see if you can answer a few to help me figure out how to get that going. Same thing with designing our logos. I had some logos designed, very, very small logos, unfortunately, not big enough to blow up to put on T-shirts and stuff like that. And again, I know I know nothing about logo design, graphic design, any kind of websites that could do it. I literally know nothing. So if you have any skill or knowledge in that area also, please email me, and you're willing to answer some questions, please email me and let me know. I'll admit I don't even know where to start as far as asking some questions, but I'm sure I'll ask a few, and that'll trigger a few more, so on and so forth. So yeah, there's that, and of course we do hope to continue to improve our AV setup, but I am an AV moron, so also right there, if you have any skill sets or knowledge in that area, please email me, and are willing to answer some questions. Please email me and let me know. We would love to help. Otherwise, again, thank you everybody for watching, and we're very excited to continue bringing you our videos. Bye now.